once in a blue moon, manufacturers just fluke out and come up with a car that makes automotive history. Now today is one of those days that automotive history has been made. But this time I think Lexus didn't exactly fluke out. After the LFA came along and blew everybody away, comes this, the 2018 Lexus LC500. However, the success of this vehicle isn't exactly accidental. It's the first product built on the GAL platform, which will be the base of the company's evolution and charge into the future. This is how Lexus visualized their future, and let me tell you, it's looking really good for them. The LC500 is a 2+2 Grand Touring Sports Coupe, but funny enough, it gets the attention of a supercar. Park it anywhere you want, and then you're going to notice that really soon a crowd is going to form around it. The problem is that this car is really not photogenic. There is no angle that does justice to the reality. This car, in person, is mind-blowing. And it's the little details that pop out, like the aero and the bumpers, the 21-inch amazing wheels, the two-piece front rotors, the deployable rear wing, the taillights that look like a rocker's eyeshadow, but the centerpiece is definitely from the afterburner of a fighter jet. And don't forget the carbon fiber roof. This is a visual masterpiece. And they didn't exactly run out of inspiration doing the exterior, because the interior is equally spectacular. Apart from the stellar craftsmanship and the modern design, the materials used are above and beyond everything else in the class, making this cockpit a very special place to be. The infotainment system can be a little bit hard to use at first, but thanks to the physical buttons present, you can do the majority of things quite easily. Roominess is amazing for the first two passengers, but the +2 that have to sit in the back will have to be either really short or have no legs. Also, the trunk at 150 liters is much smaller than anything else in the class. But do I really care? Nope. Why? Well, because the rear end looks really horny and I wouldn't change anything about it. But what matters the most is what's under the other hood, on that side. Yep, they shoved their sweet high-revving 5-liter V8 engine in here and hooked it up to a direct shift 10-speed automatic transmission that shifts quickly and helps produce some of the best sounds ever made. It makes 471 horsepower and 398 pound-feet of torque, but being able to rev way past 7,000 RPM gives this machine a really emotional attitude. They've actually spent hours and hours tuning little valves in the exhaust that continuously adjust themselves to make the engine sound as good as possible. And another really important thing is that they studied the acoustics of the cabin and they made the exhaust sound the best inside the car. Honestly, it will send shivers down your spine. This car is the evolution of the sports car because it charges into the future with technologies never really used before. For example, the brakes are by wire, but they feel amazing. It has a 10-speed automatic transmission, which is geared perhaps not ideally on paper, but realistically, it works wonderfully. So this car is the living proof to doubters like me that into the future, sports cars will still feel as amazing as they used to, even though everything is becoming electronic. This is a grand touring car. It is not a supercar, even though it feels like one. Handling is very precise. It's extremely responsive. The steering has this variable gearing and it's really quick, and I really like it. And the car on these Michelin Supersport tires feels really capable. I mean, the traction control will kick in pretty soon, so it's gonna save you from killing yourself, but it also has a limited slip diff, so putting power to the ground is not a problem. And the nose really turns in really sharply and it follows your direction to the millimeter. The Mark Levinson sound system is fantastic, but I'd rather listen to V8 FM all day long. surprising thing about this LC500 is that it starts at $101,000, and as tested with the performance package, it's $118,000. The thing is, it feels like it should cost more, a lot more. So this thing is a dream, a quite feasible dream. The adaptive variable suspension does a magnificent job, but it is a little bit bumpy at low speeds. The trunk is a little bit small, and the infotainment system is a little bit hard to learn. But the rest of the car is so damn good, I'd be willing to forgive a dozen more flaws. So overall score, 9.8 out of 10.